afternoon. Now, today we're going to do something a little bit different on an LT230, something I haven't done before. Last week a customer turned up, oh maybe a couple of weeks ago actually now, turned up with a Puma transfer case. Was making a hell of a racket. I think he wanted to change the shaft between the gearbox and the transfer case. But that spline seems to alright, but I think he's putting a loft clutch shaft on, a one-piece shaft. But we thought we'd have a look at the transfer case as well. Well, he stripped it down. And what he did was he found out that inside here, which I'll show you later, the how do we say, the little bronze washers have worn through. So it needed a new or a replacement differential. So what he did was he got a Disco 2 box, because that's the same sort of unit, but then decided to do away with that, and he got one of these. What's in the box, Angelos? It is an Ashcroft's, wait a minute, ATB differential. Now apparently these are the dog's doodads, and I've never done one before, I've never even seen one. But it works with a series of helical gears, there's no clunkiness with this. Torque biasing. So this is the problem. The little brass rings on one of these, this one here, had worn off completely. I think it was that one. And what it has done is it's eaten into here. Now the problem with that is, can you remachine it, because it's on a semicircle type of thing, or a quarter circle, and it's badly marked it. So even JP at the machine shop would have to, you know, sort of cut a tool. But the problem with that is then you've got to do the other side as well, you've got to do this side as well, plus the shimming is going to be a nightmare because now the gears are further apart. So like I said, that was the reason for getting that ATB unit. So if you've got, open up a diff and you feel inside here, and if it's worn, just try and get another one. So today's job, I'm not going to repeat everything we've done before, but we're going to take all these gears off here because we can keep these and use all the gears themselves. We're going to set up also over here, and get to the right there. This is turning out to be an absolute godsend for setting up the intermediate gears. It's really working out well. Now let me tell you something interesting about that too. Hang on, let me zoom out. Looks like I'm in your front room, doesn't it? What's interesting about that is that JP and I didn't know what 1 Newton metre was. Well, we know what 1 Newton metre is by tapping it in a calculator and converting it, but what actually is it? So what I did was I bought a 0 to 5 Newton metre torque wrench, digital one, rather than the click one, because then we can actually see it progressively going up in Newton metres. Now 1 Newton metre is the recommended torque, the preload for the bearings. Well, have I got any bearings? I think they've all fallen out. That's the necessary preload, and by removing 0.05, or was it 0.05 millimetre, 2/1000th of an inch in the old money, it increases the spacing, increases the crush on the bearings by 1 Newton metre. But we didn't know what 1 Newton metre was. So we found out by putting the torque wrench on the nut of this tool here and turned it until we got a resistance of 1 Newton metre. We did it in JP's shop, and we were taking 1/1000th of an inch off the tube at a time, because we're using solid tubes like these, but JP's made them even better, thicker. But we're not going to put crushed sleeves in anymore. We've got a nice little setup now. But going back to 1 Newton metre on this gear here, we put a string round here. Once we found what 1 Newton metre was, we pulled it, and it was actually 2 kilograms on a balance scale, 2 kilos. And we said, that's perhaps okay for new bearings because they'll actually bed themselves down, but not for used bearings because they won't bed themselves down. So we thought I'd come to a compromise of around about 1 kilo, 1.5 kilos, because we thought 2 kilos was too much. Anyway, that's it, because in the book it says 0.5 of a newton metre to 1 newton metre. But like I say, when we did it to 1 newton metre, they seemed to be quite tight. So if you want to bear that in mind, if you want to do that again, you can do it now just with a string balance and find out what the pull is on that, and then you can use these tubes and just get them turned down. This is, I think, the stuff we got. Just wait a minute, I'll come back, I'll show you the stuff we got. So this is the tube we're using. Don't confuse tube with pipe. This is drawn tube, so there's no weld in it. It's nice and strong. It's now, of course, we're in Canada, so things are inches, but this is a 1 inch diameter tube, and it's 1.25 inches on the outside. It's perfect. I bought 4 foot of it for $50. So now I can make my tubes, and you can see there the difference between a Land Rover one and ours. I'll have to give JP credit for that because he knows all about these tubes and things. But if I take my pin out of here, you can see it's a nice snug fit on there. We didn't have to drill or machine anything out. This is the Land Rover one, very much the same. So on our little jig here, I can now set this up, you know, with the independent, well, not independent, what's it called again? With the intermediate gear. Oh, it's Friday afternoon, isn't it? And on that setup I can take that down to JP, and he, while it's in his vice, can run across to his vice and say, take 1,000th off that, and it'll work out perfect. So when you put them in the box, you know you don't have to fanny about the great big bar pulling it down. You know exactly what it is. We'll do it later on, you know, when we assemble this unit, but it looks like I've got an awful lot of cleaning to do. When he brought this box down, it was black acky inside. It was filthy with burnt oil, and I think that's it. He's done a lot of high miles, or it's been off-road a lot, and it's got hot. These transfer cases do get bloody hot, so it's wise to change the oil. Alright, that's if it hasn't leaked out already. Right, oh, and of course we've already pre-bushed the casing, you know, with the intermediate shaft goes. We've already done that, so we're not going to go over that again, but I'll show you it later. So let me get on with cleaning up the bits. That's all I've seemed to have bloody done this week is transfer. I've got 3 of them down here. That's all I've done all week. Oh well, somebody's got to do it, I suppose. So this is kind of interesting. I fitted the new bearings and put it on the jig with the original spacer tube in here. And I've also put a cord around the shaft, around the gear, and I put it just behind the low range because they're all the same. It's always the same diameter. In here it could be a different diameter, we don't know. So we've got it there, and it is 2.6. 2.6 seems to be just that little bit too tight. Alright, so we'll take that down on Monday and get that taken down, but I wanted just to show you how it goes, and then we can put this in last. Alright, so now we know where we are.